Well, Pezza, we've been sent it many, many times, and the people want us to talk about it, so let's have a listen to it.
Balls, maybe even a bouncer, put square back, put fine leg back. Make the batsman think twice about it, and even if you want to trap him on the front foot, I'd just like to see some more aggressive tactics from the fielding side here. My mouth is very dry because I've had a line of cocaine.
For me, Pezza, it's the elongation of line. I've had a line of cocaine.
Some context to this here goes, and firstly, it's a great cricketer. We've got to start at the local level. Mm-hmm. This is first grade.
I thought it might have been Ravi after taking a dump.
This is ones, and do you know where it is? Where else would it be in Australia?
Well, it has to be the People's Democratic Republic of Western Australia.
Exactly. WA.
Yes, the boys.
Scarborough versus Rockingham Mandurah. At Justin Langer Oval.
Really?
First grade. You might have said Class A.
Where better place?
See, you say you like the when he says line. I like the whole thing. Like it's the whole like. I mean, it's a line in and of itself, but
Indeed.
like it's not even like a hot mic. It's like said straight into the mic with purpose and pride.
Right.
And my mouth is very dry.
There's just a little pause. My mouth is very dry. I've had a line of cocaine. What's that
Slightly
accent?
English accent.
A little bit of a
Slightly
twang
English.
to it,
Maybe
yeah.
he's been in Australia for a little bit of time.
Right, okay.
Is he like it's Frog Box? Is it Frog Box Premium?
Yeah, push the red button.
I'm thinking this. We're getting this push the red button gear.
Frog Box.
I mean, for a long time, like we've had sort of the dulcet tones of Jim Maxwell over audio, and wonderful storied commentators over the airwaves. You're sure that they might have had a little splash of red
Right.
before going on air.
Mark Nicholas.
Exactly, and no suggestions there, but
well.
I'm sure Jim would have no problem agreeing to that, or even just read from the previous night, influencing what's being said the next day.
A little Bordeaux.
Exact whatever flicks your switch. But this is the T20 era.
Yeah.
We're living in, and I just want to know the backdrop to this. Like how do you get that commentary gig? Commentating a bit of WA once. And just straight into, he's just come off saying, "Look, I'd like some more aggressive tactics." I'm sure he does. Rockingham Mandurah, none for 80 odd.
Right, okay.
And they end up chasing it down. I dug in there.
Yeah, of course.
But it was apropos of nothing. My mouth is very dry.
This will explain to the viewer and indeed the listener what's going on vis-a-vis Desert Mouth.
What would it look like? Press the red button just for bags commentary. just blokes talking about themselves at pace.
Yeah, we should start a business. Well, we heard a story of people not just indeed commentating a first grade game, indeed a final, but guys participating in that activity whilst playing the game a couple of years ago.
That's true.
You may recall.
That's true.
Not in the same state, albeit, but something to think about. So well done, that man, and good luck pushing for further honours in his commentary career.
Indeed.
Support for TGC comes via Patreon, patreon.com/Grey Cricketer. Pezza, well, we have now 4,020 members right now at patreon.com/Grey Cricketer, getting around TGC, supporting TGC, and embracing the summer that has been, the summer that was, the summer that is Sam Perry, the Australian and New Zealand, and indeed Southern Hemisphere summer of 2023-2024. If you want to get behind TGC, you want to support TGC, also get #AskTGC Fridays every single Friday into your feed, now on Spotify as well. If you want to search TGC Patreon on Spotify, you can unlock all the episodes for Ask TGC Fridays in your feed. Everything we've ever done on Patreon, you can unlock that by subscribing to Patreon, as just over 4,000 people have done.
Once again, the chat is popping off. It's only a new thing on Patreon, really. Like the bread and butter of Patreon is Ask TGC Fridays, as you've just explained.
You get a one-hour show every week.
Bonus show every week. But the chat has started popping off. It's a new feature of the Patreon app.
Yep.
So it's kind of live, and people are making a real effort to ensure that their name, like their, what do we call them? Their handle is kind of referencing stuff from Patreon or TGC. So I just want to go through the latest ones I've seen.
Of course, not to be confused with the composer. handle.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Or what they talk about on the And One videos. Now, we have
his handles.
We've got Wasp versus Rock Spider. Someone else is called Duffy Bowl Spin. Bradman's 4 Escorts. Mr. Tangerine. I'm a curator, get me out of here. My Holiday Noosa. Me Think It Amazing.
Yeah.
And Pezzery Epstein.
Okay. Plenty of options there if you want to join our Patreon. Pez, let's talk about the Australian West Indies first test at the Adelaide Oval. The big news since we've last spoke, which was last Tuesday. See you next Monday. Smith to open. Cameron Green to bat number 4. No Bancroft. Here's what Steve Smith said, Pezza, in response to him opening the batting. He said this: I've kind of been pushing it for a few weeks, even before Perth, I think. And I might have even been floated in England just randomly and said, I'll get up top and I'm happy to play up top. In Perth, I kind of said, after Davey's gone, I'm actually keen to get up there. I don't think they sort of took me seriously until I got to Sydney and I was like, I'm actually being genuine here. I'd be keen to get up top and face a new ball. And they were like, all right, well, we'll take that under advisement and see how it all looks.
Checking in with the greats.
Kim Hughes said, I nearly vomited. I think it's my favourite quote of all time. I nearly vomited, Hughes told WA Sport. I've got no doubts in my mind that if Cameron Bancroft played for New South Wales, he'd be in the test side. He's in his prime. So a couple of different thoughts there, Pezza. Different options. You can pick your side. You got to defend that side for your life, with your life. Never change your mind. Never change your thought process. Never change your point of view.
Nearly vomited.
Mate, I think it's my favourite quote of all time. Yeah. I nearly vomited. I've seen the team. Incredible.
I feel like it, just on the quote that you said with Smith, we always have this impression being outside the Australian cricket team that like the way things would work would be highly process driven with excellent communication and professionalism between people. You've got this guy that many would argue is the best since Bradman saying, I'd like to open the batting, and everyone's like, no, you're just joking, aren't you?
Yeah, good
I
one.
don't know if that reflects on communication skills from one end.
Well, if anyone's seen our interview with Steve Smith on 7 Sport, you know that Steve Smith doesn't joke. He doesn't joke around. He's not here to fuck spiders. Pezza.
Well, thank you. I was just thinking that, but does he fuck spiders?
Are you here to fuck spiders, Smudger?
You know when you watch the Amazon documentary and it was like, oh, is it just like a club team with heaps of staff or something?
Yeah. Is this just reps?
Yeah.
With heaps of parents knocking out wanting to do stuff?
Instead of having one kit, you've got 3. Still just stepping over kit and discarded clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that Smith's like, oh, no one's taking me seriously here.
Guys.
Seriously, I want to open the batting. And they still didn't believe him until he just went and did an interview with the ABC and said, no, I'm good for it. Please.
I'll do it.
For the love of God.
I want to do it. Let me do it. I want a new challenge, Daddy. Let me play. Yeah, all right, mate. Calm down. Calm down.
We'll take that on advisement, mate.
Okay, mate. All the best. Go and play with your Rubik's Cube over there.
I mean, we talked about it a lot ahead of the decision, kind of forecasting that Smith would get the gig. I mean, in like technically what's happened is, Renshaw got the gig instead of Bancroft, and 2 groups of Australians have fucking had conniptions, which is like, people who fundamentally loathe the Australian cricket team, irrespective of what they achieve, because they represent something about Australia that they don't like.
Yeah.
And West Australian incels.
Yeah. I can't.
Which isn't every West Australian, by the way.
Not all of them.
But a lot.
I can't buy a little flag from Woolies and I don't like Pat Cummins. Mm-hmm. Those 2 things are married together, that idea.
Just to attack or explore the conspiracy theory angle. What doesn't add up to me around the conspiracy theory? Because believe me, I'd love that to be true. No one's business thrived more than the grade cricketer after sandpaper.
Imagine if there was a conspiracy.
Like, if you want to talk about self-interest, I'd fucking love the Bancroft conspiracy to be correct.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, we've been saying this whole time that, Warner got indulged because he held the nuclear codes.
Yeah,
Only
yeah,
one other guy holds the nuclear codes. Like if, everyone knows Pat Cummins is smart, surely it'd be a friends, close enemies, closest scenario.
100%.
Get Bancroft into the side.
Yep.
Fucking stat.
Get him in.
At pace.
Yeah. How are you, Cam? Yeah. All good, mate. Yeah. I don't know who that is.
JL?
It might be JL. I don't know.
But instead, we just have some tired WA pantomime stuff. Like, what like?
I think as well, mate, that it's been fed in the media because we're bored. We're bored for a start of the summer. We want new things to talk about. And we want some hatred. Hatred drives clicks for a start. And so,
it's a good feeling. On social media's based on it. Provocation. Let's go.
Exactly
Algorithms.
right. So
play on.
This perpetual thought has been put out there. It's like, this is a fucking disgrace. Like, what has happened has been a fucking disgrace. Now, like, fundamentally, I look at the team. I'm like, it's like Smith opening, Green at 4. That's probably better. It's probably better. Don't know.
Might be wrong.
Might be wrong. To say what it definitely. I mean, we talked about this last week. Well, it's obvious what needs to happen. So it's obvious now. Like Cameron Bancroft is a good player, and he's done
you know
well.
What? He's a fine player.
He's a fine player.
He's a fine player.
And I think he's done well. He has done well the last couple of years. There's no doubt about that. He's scored runs in Shield. He's been averaging.
And
whatever.
he might get his go.
Probably will. I think he's good.
Yeah. And a popular member of the side when he's in there. Funny. Got a little bit of comic timing to him.
Oh, good.
He does. Big old Bonce, something to talk about.
And then you look at Renshaw's. And Renshaw's numbers say another thing, however you want to twist them to suit your narrative. But his numbers are pretty good. Bit more versatile in the middle order. He's batted 5 and 6 for Australia. He's opened the batting for Australia. He's batted 3 and 4 for Queensland. A little bit more versatile. He's going to play as a fucking concussion sub, i.e. he probably won't play because the West Indies guys by about 107 k's an hour. We're probably good to go here, boys. But it's not about that, is it? So it's like, you look at all the options. It's like, Smith opening, Green 4. If Green was playing Shield cricket, he'd be the best player in the Sheffield Shield. He averages 60 batting at 4. I read a thing today saying Steve Smith, apparently in Test match cricket, when he's coming in the first 2 overs, averages 106. So it's like, okay, I can see some things here. It's all pretty good. I think probably, on balance, the best team available for the Australian cricket team and also moving forward, it probably is Smith opening, Green 4, probably. But
you can do anything with numbers,
Yeah.
The average person in Australia has 1 testicle and 1 breast.
Okay.
Okay. You can do anything with numbers, mate.
Okay.
Poor old Harry.
Who?
Exactly. I noticed he got picked up by Perth Scorchers the other day. I think he's trying to get in on the WA conspiracy stuff. Injury replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think a lot of people are raging against the dying of the light of the Shield graduation system.
And the machine.
Yes. And the pristine sacred pyramid that we all grew up with, which is now more of like a fucking weathered parallelogram.
Yeah. What the fuck is this? I don't understand it.
If you are atop the averages of Shield, you are the next cab. Again, not a lot of clarity from people over whether that's a cab or a person, by the way.
Tweet. Yeah.
Not a lot of clarity out there. A lot of people claiming it's a cab inside a rank. Not a person waiting for a cab. Just goes to show that, when you dig a bit deeper, things aren't clear at all.
But isn't this this is the perfect discussion point of us? No, I see underneath this that this team are a pack of coats, and I know it. I can't quite prove it. I'm bored of the summer, by the way, because even Pakistan gave us a couple of great games. Really enjoyed the summer as a whole. I'm just a little bit bored though because I want perfection. Now I don't watch the Shield cricket. I don't really like the cricket. I sort of turn it on, walking in and out of rooms. I don't really pay much attention. But what I do know is that things are changing, and I don't like the way things are changing. And I'm going to attack certain individuals without any sort of substance to my argument. But I just know. And I'm going to die on this hill that something's afoot here. And I don't like it.
And it's been afoot for a long time. It's been afoot since I got the feeling that this Australian team is not the version of Australia that I want.
Yeah.
They represent things that I do not hold in my heart as true and meaningful for Australia. In fact, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
And I am awaiting fucking with sledgehammer, dagger, any other accoutrement at the ready for their comeuppance as soon as one thing goes wrong. There will be strong sections of people in Australia looking for Smith to get out early against the West Indies.
Appealing to the television screens when he gets hit outside off stump. That's fucking out!
With bangers, fine player as he is.
Yeah.
Fine player as he is.
Good player.
Are we talking about a guy that's because a lot of people I think are confecting it this way.
What about when Matthew Hayden or Mike Hussey did
That's
it?
what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
are we talking about a DOS Damian Martin scenario, like a prodigy
Kadich.
who oozed class, was brought in early,
Yeah.
to the level of their talent, failed in the fucking cauldron of Test cricket, only to go away and become grizzled warriors in the wonderful kind of breeding ground of Sheffield Shield cricket, re-emerging as fucking indefatigable, unbeatable batters. Are we talking about that with bangers? He's gone away and scored the runs. He's ironed out the kinks in the technique. I don't get the impression, fine player as he is.
Yeah.
We're talking about Dawson Mardo here. I don't. What's
surprised.
What's the ceiling?
Maybe.
Maybe. Of course, you're not ruling it out.
So, like, because obviously now we'll say, like, fuck no. Of course not. But then you clip this up and then it's just like, well, what about the time he scored 900s in a row?
That'd
in the
be
Ashes?
amazing.
Now,
I'd love
like,
to be wrong again.
Could that happen? Yeah, it could happen. But I don't really see it right now, though. I mean, I averaged 26, played 10 games, hasn't scored 100. I feel like these guys, like, just really good first-class cricketers. I think he will get another go, and he'll probably do okay. I think that's more likely, right? That's more likely. And so, like, he's fine. But just this idea that,
A lot of
I'm going to
people
look
like
at a team sheet and I vomit. I'm going to vomit. I'm going to projectile vomit on myself when I've opened up a web page. Actually, that has happened to me once before. That was a 2 girls, 1 cup scenario, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't reading a 1 to 13 for the Australian cricket team. Had to wash me sheets.
I saw a headline saying Mitch Johnson pours fuel on Bancroft conspiracy
Yeah,
theory.
we're talking.
That's all. I didn't click it. I just saw that he poured fuel on it.
So, you'd be surprised if, part of this seems to be with Smith as well, wanting to open the batting is because, like, he's come in because the team has been set up so well with the platform, with Marnus doing so well at 3 for the most part, and Khawaja and Warner in the last couple of years especially been a pretty solid opening partnership, though Warner hasn't necessarily scored the individual runs consistently. The partnerships have been pretty steady. Even in this series just gone, he scored, he went past 50 twice, right? But I think the partnerships are over 100 a couple of times, certainly over 50 with Khawaja. So then Marnus gets in. Again, Marnus has done that well, but Smith has been coming in later in the innings. He's said, like, softer ball, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's like he's never batted 4 before. But he seems like he's been getting a lot of short stuff. It's been harder to score. He's been cramped up. He's been dried up. And he wants to come in where maybe he can score a little bit more liberally early on. So, I don't know.
He's this week in the press, he's dared opening quicks to bounce him and waste the new ball. I imagine a lot of opening quicks go, okay.
Okay.
But it's true. I mean, I think they've probably got to the bottom of the actual cricket thinking behind it, like beyond the, I'm just lacking freshness here.
Yeah.
I mean, like prior to 2019, he was averaging like 68 or some shit. Like, and then in the late years just leading up to that, it was like 70 something, and then the next, like the last 4 year cycle was being like 43. That's a significant decline from a very, very high bar.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's been coming back to the mean as a result of age. It has been like the circumstances he's found himself in, and the way bowlers and fielding teams have managed to stifle him. And so I think that's right. I think ball will be. Guys will be challenging the stumps. I don't think anyone's really better with the ball on the stumps or around the stumps than Steve Smith. 3 slips, space in the field, get his innings set up, see how he goes.
I think it's sort of hard to get a finger on the pulse. I mean, just the way that Twitter is these days, where, like, you're just getting fed the most vile shit all the time. And
I wouldn't say that's finger on the pulse.
No, exactly. So, but like, the amount of commentary being people just so upset about Bancroft's non-selection. It's hard to know how many actual people are really that upset. Because like. I'm looking at the team and I'm like, nah, that's probably about right. Now, like, therefore, what I think is always right, as we know. But I just feel like when the team plays the game on, when's it start? Wednesday?
Yes.
It's going to be like, it looks about right. Cameron Grant at forward's like, yeah, probably looks pretty good. I like it, yeah. It's good for the future. And like Bancroft might get go because Khawaja's 37. Some other guys are older. Smith might retire. I don't know, might not work out to get another go. But I'm just like, it's fine. But just like, but this whole summer's just been fucking. We're just hanging on outrage for in lieu of any other Jonathan Lew, of course.
Johnny Lew.
Any other like real like nuggets, like Dave Warner's found his cap, and Dan Brady's written an article this afternoon as we go to where.
Is there an update on the cap?
Yeah, he found it. Yeah, it was basically just it was always there. But
What? I thought he already had found it, though.
yeah, he had found it. Yeah, but the reasons as to how it was lost in the first place.
Oh, that's coming out now.
Yeah, Brady
what are we
wrote an
looking at?
article.
It was always there.
It was always there, basically. That's
Someone said to him, "Where'd you last have it?"
basically.
What the mate? That's fucked up.
So,
Yeah, we've got to be outraged about something.
Yeah.
About the team that's doing really well.
Yeah.
I think that's the one for me. That's just like, well, they're doing pretty well. So,
Yeah.
people have, people talk about the sanctity of the pyramid, and getting the best player from the level below and bringing him through. It's always worked till now. But so has lines of credit, cash in the bank, like dining out on performances. These selectors are entitled to dine out a little bit on performances. They're generally getting things pretty right. So, if Australia was getting dusted and there was just holes all through the team, then you can criticise sort of more rationally. But this is like, who's going to mix the drinks as 13th person in the Australian team?
Yeah.
Renshaw or Bancroft's like, oh, fuck you, it's not fucking Bank. Please.
I think New South Wales are involved somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Karen Bancroft
The two selectors have
got replaced by a WA player.
the three selectors are two Victorians and a Tasmanian. New South Wales are involved in this somehow. Do you want to talk about the ODI squad, which was named?
There's a few more with the West Indies with the actual series.
Oh, they're playing on that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Extremely important World Test Championship points on the line.
Oh, yeah, up for grabs.
Want to point out?
So they're up for grabs?
Yeah, they're up. Yeah, up for grabs. Like, I guess I wanted to ask you, like, what do you want from this?
Oh,
what
my
do you?
fucking God.
Yeah. Do you just want the points and to get out of there? Like, do you just want to put them in the bag and go? Do you want trappings? Like, is that what you really want? If you woke up tomorrow and Raw Dog was in, Bareback was in, Stark's going to take a blow. Do you like that? Like, is that what you want? Should they have done that, or are you happy for the quicks to crack on as they are? Just a question. Do you want some like Smith? However you want to say it, Smith at one is a trapping.
Yeah, it's something to look at.
It's something to look at
Green
up the top. Number one, name next to one.
I'm more excited by Green at 4 than I am Smith.
Yeah, it's Green at 4. It's a trapping. Yeah. They're offering us something to talk about. Some different shapes and movements to freshen the eyes, eye hygiene, and the intellectual palate. Do you need that? I mean, there's an opportunity
if I knew right now that Josh Hazlewood was going to break down and he would never play for Australia again.
Fucking hell, okay.
If I knew that was going to happen...
No chance that could happen given how good he looks at the moment.
Then I'd be like, I want a new player to... But the current bowlers are going to be playing until at least the next Ashes.
Yeah. Okay.
So like...
In England?
No, in Australia.
Yeah.
So like... Because there's not that much test cricket between now and 2 summers' time for Australia. So like... A new trapping for this series, I'm a bit like, why?
Yeah.
Like,
because it's the great paradox that we live in of like where the next thing's more important than this thing.
Of course.
So you're sort of going like, you spend all this time investing in players so that they might offer you something amazing in the future. Now, we did the investment and the future is here. The amazing thing is here.
It's here now.
It's called 4 guys who have taken 1,000 wickets. And we're like... But it's just sort of...
what's that?
I seen some net footage of Lance Morris.
I don't think I've ever seen him bowl with a red ball.
I couldn't...
Maybe I have a highlight, maybe.
With my own eyes, I couldn't really tell you the difference between 147 and 139 on TV.
Yeah.
The batter might flinch a little bit.
Yeah.
But I want to see it, and I want commentators drooling over how fast that is for a bit while I walk in and out of the house doing other jobs. I want a player to lose their position in the team so that I can have the smallest bit of dopamine that I'll forget about dealing with the ATO of a separate issue.
It's literally the meme of the guy walking with his girlfriend and then turning around and then seeing the other new
David
thing.
De Gea. Yeah.
That's So Australia is walking hand in hand with 1,000+ test wickets, perhaps the greatest quartet that's ever represented the country.
Yeah.
Perhaps, maybe not.
Yeah.
But perhaps, and then over the corner is like, what's Nisa up to?
He's a good player.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong.
I'm going to ask you another question about the series. Like, do you want, like, is it time that the team, who are always unders, produce something bulk. You know,
What does that
somewhere where
look
we can
like?
start. Well, exactly. Because I wanted to raise this with you. Last time I remember someone doing something bulk was Warner against Pakistan,
Yes.
where the conversation becomes how disrespectful
that was
it is.
disrespectful.
So we get upset about that.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bulk comes in
Yeah.
as a kind of like proving evidence of our dominance and success and,
That was-
and harking back to days of yore and safety. And then once it starts to take off, he's like, gee, Test cricket's in trouble, and isn't this disrespectful to Bradman, who's dead?
4-day tests? When he went past, I was like, that is fucked up. When Warner went past Bradman,
just a
who, as you
number on a
said,
scoreboard.
he's dead.
Yeah.
Don Bradman is dead, and Warner went past his record.
That's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
I'm starting to think with this team though that like they don't do bulk. You know, like is there something? Do you find like there's a clip knocking around on Facebook, maybe other places as well, of Matthew Hayden in the sheds after making 380 against Zimbabwe.
Oh, take me back.
Yeah, and there's something, and like Steve Waugh's just off to the side. Tubby Taylor's in there; he's got access, Channel 9.
Yeah,
and
good days.
You can sort of feel the kind of like the off-brown veneer of the sheds, and Matthew Hayden's got his hair popping out to the of the sides just so.
He had nice sails when he played.
Yeah, and that was the style at the time as well, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And Steve Waugh's resting on the drinks fridge or whatever, arms folded, of course.
Chewing straw.
Yeah, indeed. Just
Wearing a
saying
Cobra.
why say 3 words when you can say one, And Doss is, chewing the fat with Tubby over what he was doing, and all the guys in the background ribbing him for doing it and stuff. And but do you think there's something like, is there something a bit uncouth about scoring 380, for example, against like a true minnow nation on the decline?
That have sent 7 players out here that have barely played first-class cricket, let alone a test.
See, my answer to that is no, because that was of its time. That's what Australia was doing. That's actually part of our kind of our MO to the world.
Yeah.
That was our forward. That was in John Howard white paper stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
What are Australia up to? 380.
It is. It's like
Zimbabweans.
it's fucking bulk and lots of everything. Yeah. Fucking you in the face with what we can achieve. Right?
Yeah.
Figure of speech.
Yeah.
Okay?
You want to come here? Have a look at this.
Exactly. So I understood that. Whereas this
Stop the
team,
Coates.
Exactly.
John Coates, the...
That's right. At the time, he just had some financial issues. But yeah, like this team is operating in a different socio-political environment where I think bulk runs and bulk wickets is a bit uncouth with what's going on around the world.
Well, that's why Boland's hardly played since he's 6 or 9.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
just cool your jets against...
even against Pakistan, this team's like dusted everybody and whatever. And it's just like, look, let's just do what we need to do to win. This team is about doing enough. It's about tapering. It's about getting out of there, playing golf, playing Call of Duty, getting ready for the next game, having another game, and and sort of living a full and broad and rich life.
Can I introduce a tennis analogy into this conversation? Now, Novak Djokovic played in his first round match last night against some Cote, and he pushed him all the way to 5 sets, the Cote. But overall, Djokovic just has the class, and he just outwit, outlast, and outplayed him in a survivor-style metaphor here.
Yes.
And so just thinking with Australia, they were pushed by Pakistan in those games. I don't think they're going to be pushed by the West Indies per se, but perhaps they will be. But they'll just...
4 sets.
A little bit of class, just a little bit of class overrides all the way,
Yeah.
So Australia's just like, it'll be close, but Australia's just going to do enough, because there's a better team.
Start doing tricks.
No.
You know what I mean? Don't start fucking around. It's unprofessional and it's disrespectful to your fellow professional.
You don't want to see Djokovic win 6 love, 6 love, 6 love.
Exactly.
Give us a game.
Man United Arsenal FA Cup, 13 years ago or some shit. Nani doing the seal stuff on his nose.
Yeah,
and that was not right.
No, it wasn't right.
It actually was, but you're looking at the West Indies. This is per Tom Decent, friend of the show. West Indies have won 4 of their last 21 games away from home, more than I thought. Haven't beaten Australia at home in 27 years. They've got 7 debutants, as many as South Africa versus New Zealand.
Yeah.
In the last series, it was a year ago, the Windies lost by 164 runs in Perth, where Australia declared second innings, and 419 runs in Adelaide. 2 Australians have played 233 tests. 15 West Indian tourists have played 235. Hayden Walsh Jr. is referred to as Haydos. Oh, that was me. That was not Tom. To be fair to him. Marnus made 502 runs in 2 tests last year against the West Indies. Mm-hmm. There's some number stuff, again, per Tom. Steve Smith has a chance of being the fastest to 10,000 test runs if he gets there in 194 innings. He's played 187. He needs to average 67 to get there ahead of Tendulkar, Sangakkara, and someone else.
So he's got 4, but he's got 4 tests before India come out, which would be 2 in New Zealand and 2 here against the West Indies. And then he'll have the first 3 tests of the India series. Those will be his next. 7 innings or matches?
Innings.
Okay.
So 195 is what the first 3 did.
Yeah.
And
I see. So in the next
194, he has to average 67.
In the next 4 test matches, he'll probably get 7 innings, maybe. If they bat twice again. I mean, fuck, this is... We're expecting to be a bloodbath.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we're talking about.
So what you're asking... You asked me the question...
What do you want from it? I'm just offering you things
from it?
I'm offering you things to get from the series.
See, what I don't necessarily want... I'm going to tell you things I don't want by answering your question about what I want. Here's what I don't want. I don't really want to see, just Cummins... just fucking bowl 2 short balls in a half volley and they nick it and it'd be like, oh, this is a complete class thing. This is... Different to Andre Klaassen, who plays for the...
Thank you for clarifying.
South African team. I don't think I would necessarily want to see that, a complete no contest where it's like, I'm going to bowl in swinger, out swinger, nick. It's like, oh, okay, this is the under 13s.
That would be good if he went in, out.
His shoulders okay. Yeah. What happens if Stark gets a wicket in the first over, just fucking blows 3 blokes' pads off?
It's like, how it works. It's like Chanderpaul and Brathwaite come out to bat and we're like, these guys actually aren't bad.
Yeah.
We say it in a falsetto voice like that. Yeah. And there's trappings in terms of new West Indian players and we'll all sort of, stroke our chins and say, no, you know what, there is a player in there. And they'll have a few moments here and there and that'll be nice. And cute and everything, and if they dominate a session a little bit too long, questions will start to be asked, and then someone will just pull it back a little bit. But I don't know the answers. I'm just putting things on the table.
I think I want Travis Head fun. I want the bin lid fun.
Yeah. So I want Travis Head to make 5 runs from 2 games in 4 innings, and then go to New Zealand and be player of the match in the first game with questions over. I feel like that's what Heady does.
Yeah, it's hard.
I want him to do well.
It's hard to know what we want because I don't. You don't really. From time to time, you get a 2-day test match. We had one against South Africa last summer at the Gabba. I feel like the bowling's going to be unders. Yeah, a couple of batters, Chanderpaul, Brathwaite. You're right. Yeah, there's a bit of pedigree there. I suppose some guys have done some stuff.
Yeah, just saying. But look at us trying to curate and choose our own adventure of what the test team could achieve. Is that a sign that we're doing well, or is it a sign that the game is on its knees, or both?
See, if let's say Lance Morris played and he took 4 wickets, I'd be like, okay,
that's good.
Yeah, but I wouldn't care that much.
It'd depend how he got the wickets.
Yeah, if he was scaring blokes, I'd be like...
if guys are waving their bat outside 6th stump or something, it's just too quick. Unless he...
I don't think he's that quick, though.
Yeah, no. His guy's been talked up so much.
I think he's quick, but I don't think he's like Brett Lee quick.
Oh, let's talk about that. So I agree with you. I think he's... But I do think he's the quickest in the country. And that counts for something.
See, Mark Wood is quick.
Yeah. And Mark Wood is quicker, and Mark Waugh is quicker
than Lance Morris.
He's got quicker hands, but Mark Wood's quicker than Lance Morris.
Yeah.
So are we happy with that?
Not
is
really.
that enough?
No.
Lance Morris has quite a good action.
No, whereas something
in the sense that it's sustainable, so he can have a professional career. Whereas Mark Wood is it's born to catapult the ball.
Yep. Yep.
Now, not good for his back or his body.
Yeah.
But he's capable of, higher heights.
Yeah. That's
Morris has had the temerity to try and create something that can be used for his own labour.
That's sustainable.
to provide for a family. But has he thought about the nation and my needs when I walk in and out of rooms?
That's what he's thinking about when he's thinking about anything a high elbow. Thinking about feeding his wife and children. I don't even know he has.
Well, he will have with those baby blues.
Of course.
If he wants them. So that's the preview.
Best of luck to both teams. I hope everyone has a nice time. Should we talk about the ODI squad now?
Raw Dog's in there. He will play international cricket.
Yeah, that's right. So this will be the first time a couple of these guys would have played in Australia because Aaron Hardy's obviously in the side as well, who played in South Africa just before the World Cup. He was in that series. I think he might have played. Did he play in India as well?
Yeah, I think he was there.
Yeah. But that didn't happen because it was overseas, so that doesn't count. So, but Stoinis being out of the ODI side is significant, I suppose. He signed with the Durban Super Giants in the SA20, the affiliate of his IPL franchise, the Lucknow Super Giants, during the ODIs for the West Indies. So there's 3 ODIs and 3 T20s after the 2 Test matches. The ODIs come first and then the T20s afterwards. So Stoinis said this in relation to being dropped, I suppose, or not selected. He said, I had a few conversations with Andrew McDonald over the last sort of 4 to 6 months. Spoke to George as well, George Bailey, of course. In terms of selections, in terms of the fact that Hardy's coming in, I think that's brilliant. I think it makes complete sense after a World Cup. There needs to be a balance between keeping a core and bringing new guys in. The next tournament that they're looking forward to is the Champions Trophy, which is 18 months away. I've got no intention of retiring from international cricket or anything like that. I think it makes complete sense. He, referring to Hardy, has been playing brilliantly. He also needs to be exposed in international cricket, which I think he's ready for. I'll be going to South Africa to play for my IPL franchise, Lucknow, over there, which Cricket Australia has been in the loop with the whole time. So I think that all makes complete sense, to be honest. So
sounds like he seems real cool with it. I'm sort of staggered with the maturity. Like, am I listening to a selector?
Get me out of here.
Yeah.
So he's obviously saying he wants to play in the T20s, and I'd imagine that given his lack of form for Australia, I would say, in the white ball cricket. I mean, that's where he plays for Australia, and white ball cricket. He's been unders for Australia for a little while, especially in ODIs, where obviously he lost his spot for the last 2 games in the World Cup. But I think that the more T20 cricket he plays, I feel like he is playing for that squad. I definitely don't think he's a lock for the T20 World Cup in America. He is one of the guys that you would say is a T20 specialist, though, in Australia. Plays in all the franchises, played in Major League Cricket last year. He's playing, obviously, in the SA20 just now, which is like a fucking strong competition. Obviously playing the Big Bash. Has probably been unders in the Big Bash for the Melbourne Stars this year, you would say. And then he is obviously playing in the IPL. Now, if like I think all these guys, if they have good IPLs, they're gonna get picked because that is the highest domestic competition without a question in the world. So that's interesting. But another one's Matt Short, who's been picked. He scored 509 runs in this Big Bash. Chris Lynn is second. He scored 205 runs less than Matt Short. Matt Short's been fucking amazing in the Big Bash and has done for the last few years. I think he averages 70 or 72 or some shit.
Matt Short's time is now.
Yeah.
And Matt Short should be in all white ball squads, I believe, and sides. I think particularly with the T20 World Cup coming up, Australia would do well given their last result in this format. If you respect it as an individual format, which some do, some don't, the side should be subject to change. It should look different to what it has in the past. So, and Matt Short should be a massive part of that, I think. I mean, Stoin, I think you're right, will just come down to IPL. I think they trust him, and I think they trust him in big tournaments as well. I think he's probably harsh on the World Cup. He was coming back. He was dealing with injury and stuff. He was a good shout to play in those late fixtures as well. Were it not for some conditions and team balance questions. So he seems pretty chill from the way he's talking about it, and just a mark of a mature person, I think. But I like Matt Short's a perfect example. Nathan Ellis is another guy, I think, for T20 World Cup who's just got to be there.
He made the ICC T20 Team of the Year, which means fuck all really, but it does indicate that he has been consistent for Australia.
Well, it means a lot when our guys are in there.
That's true,
basically.
actually. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I forgot about that.
So,
but I agree. I think he's outstanding.
And also, I just read on the internet that Marcus Stoinis is older than James Faulkner.
Yeah, man. What the fuck?
It says a lot more about Jimmy Faulkner, I think. No, I was looking up. He's bad knee, but James Faulkner's only 33.
That's so wild to me.
Stoinis 34.
So you said this to me the other day, and I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
So Faulkner was the player of the final in the 2015 World Cup, which is now 9 years ago. So he would have been 24 during that.
Yep.
That is fucking unbelievable. He had some troubles. I mean, he played in Pakistan. Didn't he throw his lid into a chandelier in Pakistan?
Couple. I quickly reading up on what's occurring. He has a bad knee, but
Okay, fair enough.
But I did see a quote saying like, it was genuinely like great bloke when he's on your side. And by the way, I've played with plenty of them, and they are great.
Yeah.
When they're on your side.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, okay, Pezza. Well, should we thank our main sponsor of the show, Pajero?
Main sponsor of the show, Pajero. Very popular segment last week. Thank you to everybody who wrote in.
A lot of correspondence last week.
A lot of
Pezza.
correspondence and enjoyment for our segment called Away Days.
Away Days.
Brought to you by Pajero. Thanks to Pajero, we're asking you, lady and gentlemen, about your most adventurous aways in this dark, exacting game we call cricket. You know, where wheels, which is, Pajero's forte, and they do bring us this show, and we are grateful and thankful.
Yes.
Are central to the experience. Petrol, disputes over petrol, tolls, insecurity about low SES locations, the low hum of rubber on bitumen as you die 1,000 deaths before turning up at the ground, or contemplate another failure while watching cows and electricity lines whiz past you on the motorway, your teammates slightly happier as they made 23 runs. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what we want to hear. And that's what we want to hear from you, lady and gentlemen. Now, a couple of...
How do they get in contact?
They get in contact...
To tell us about Away Days.
What? You know what I'd like?
Okay.
Email gradecricketer@gmail.com.
Okay.
Forget if you're on Patreon, you can use that platform, okay? And I'm going to go there, and that's an incentive for everyone to sign up.
Say it again. What's the email?
gradecricketer@gmail.com.
Tell us about your Away Days. Go on, Pezza.
All right, couple of early nominations before we get to the main one.
Oh, okay.
This first one's from Patreon. Indeed, it's the handle called Maurice Hussey. Just said, one time on the way home from preseason training in a car, my dad kicked me out 5Ks from home and made me run home because he thought I wasn't fit enough. I stopped playing after that. I was 14 and playing in the C team. And out that tooth. This is from Cobb Salad, another nomination.
Oh, yeah,
Cobb
Cobb.
Salad. Under 17's grand final. 2 allocated umps so the coach doesn't have to umpire. We bat. After about the 4th wicket, he starts driving the new batsmen out to the centre and picking up the dismissed lads to escort them off. Umps and other team
true.
watched on in bemusement.
That can't be true.
Could have been a Pajero.
Thanks,
And
Cobb
then-
Salad.
But the main entry this week is from Mitchell Johnson's ghostwriter, who says, this is the main entry
Okay.
for Away Days, your adventurous Away Days with Pajero. Out LBW, first ball of semi-final. Side bowled out for 38. Had the home mob 7 for 28. I dropped 2 catches. They pass our total and are all out with a lead of 15. I'm out for my second duck of the day before close of play. Life couldn't be worse. Driving to day 2 the following morning, I drive through random breath test. Brackets, had no beers night before, even though I had no participation in rest-off game, although thought I should do the right thing. Obviously, I passed the breath test, and then the cop stings me for 4 bald tyres and a $500 fine. We lose the semi-final. Expenses of weekend, somewhere in the realm of $1,500 once you include fine, new tyres and end-of-season beers and other accoutrements. Ongoing price of therapy sessions not included. That is Away Days, your adventurous Away Days. We want to hear from you. Thanks to Pajero, who are getting behind us. Deluxe. Very much enjoyed. That's Pajero Sports. Away Days.
Thank you very much for everyone that's written in. So get in your Away Day. To said email. Let's talk about the BBL, Pezzo, because we were in the neighbourhood before. So the top 4 teams are already sorted. The Heat and the Scorchers 1-2. Sixers at the moment have the bronze medal, and the Strikers are within striking distance of the bronze medal in 4th place. Indeed. All the rest of the teams, we can now call them dog shit because they can't make it. So all the rest of them, dog shit.
Top 4 and dog shit.
Heat, Scorchers, Sixers, Strikers. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment. The Sixers can actually catch the Scorchers because they're only 1 point behind them. 1 game left for...
That matters. That's home semi stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. 1 game left for everyone except for the Heat and... I can't think of the other team. Hobart, maybe. But Pezza, crowd's good.
Yeah.
41,000 at the SCG for the Sydney Smash. That's a record for the highest ever attendance for the Sydney Sixers, highest ever attendance for a BBL game at the SCG, which is the same thing, just saying it in a different way. 41,000 at Marvel, or as I put here, Mavel. Marvel for Aaron Finch's last game. And that was for the
Derby.
red versus green.
Red-green.
So
Colourblind.
what are we looking at here, Pezza? Big Bash good when the Australian players are playing in it? Is that what we're looking at? I mean, David Warner helicopter stuff. Steve Smith out first ball, batting for the Sixers. Obviously opposite teams there. But
Warner sledging him beforehand?
am I looking at when the Australian players are playing and it's all good to go that people like to go and watch the cricket?
Hey, you're looking at goodwill for the bucket on Bonce League.
Yep.
You're looking at a lot of goodwill.
Bucket on Bonce League.
It's there. The league is pregnant with potential. It's impregnated, right? And sometimes that potential is realised as it was. Like we're here, we're in the present now. These things are good. And I don't want there to be a but on that. Oh, but they need to do this or that. That's good shit. It's funny. Like I'm finding back half of the league for me personally, my own consumption habits, which isn't everybody else's. I'm starting to sit on the couch a little bit more. You know, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that kind of maybe we're looking at the January kind of lull period. It's not really a lull. Like what is it what are we looking at when we're talking about January Australian Open kind of starts and we're really into like I don't know, Melbourne gets hot for starters.
Somehow in January, like not everyone's back at work yet.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's the rest of the world school teachers. Is that what's going on? Because when you go back to, like most people go back to work the second week of January, right? But when you go back on the roads, like no one's around still.
Yeah.
Like there's no traffic yet still. But it gets real hot all of a sudden. There's tennis on, so that sort of fits into like the lullaby of summer in our circadian rhythms.
We're over the stresses of like Christmas and New Year's vis-a-vis family and traveling around and all your obligations around that time. You know, you're into the just letting it's the January wash. You know, things are washing over you very, very nicely.
Are you breaking down the shackles of the stresses of the harsher months, that being your winters, your autumns?
Yeah, you may be.
Seasons like that, of course. Not those actual
series.
Just ones like that. And so I feel like people get into more of a rhythm of going to the beach. Like there's always a towel in the car, just in case, you know.
Okay. The sun must be nice, yeah.
Dip toes in the old water there.
Yeah.
I don't know. But maybe I think also what is a factor is that the test team isn't playing.
Australian players
and so people like the cricket in the summer. And it's like, what's on? Okay, I'll go to the Big Bash now. Oh, the Australian players are available. Isn't that interesting? I might be confecting it slightly, but I've been saying this for a little while. I do think that somehow, by some way, the Big Bash, if it needs to survive, cricket in Australia needs to thrive in this country, that the Big Bash needs to be the centre point of it, because no other country does it like we do it, and that like tests on throughout the entire, blotted through the entire summer, and we're trying to play our central competition, the most important competition financially long term, at the same time. And it's like, how many people have like the brain capacity for cricket, watch it all day, and then Big Bash as well at night? Some people do.
It's going to take a lot of leadership, and it's going to take a lot of pain, because it's going to mean moving Test cricket from when it is.
Yeah. And
or trying to educate or sell cricket to people when footy is talking. And I really mean that. The season isn't on, but they're talking.
Yeah.
In Melbourne, and I think also in rugby league states as well, footy is talking until Christmas holidays. It is on people's minds, and it starts up early as well. Like the walls seem to be closing in on the Australian cricket season as it stands. Like, how do you expand the season insofar as people are interested in cricket? That has to be why the powers that be place both competitions, BBL and Test cricket, on at the same time, because they know, as the great secret of the season, that is the only time Australians want to consume this thing. Like, you could have both. Like, England does both. England made sacrifices to the Test summer. Yep. They put its 100 at its peak season. That's painful, and maybe it's wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I'm looking at I'll talk about the SA20 in a moment, but like I'm looking at that league, and it's fucking strong, and it's good, and the attendances are good. That's a different situation for them, obviously. It's not exactly the same as here, but like our problem with Test cricket here is that, like, when was Jesus born? Test match.
Yes.
Our summer is revolved around when Jesus was born. And of course the Gregorian calendar.
Yes.
Famously, two things tie in together there. So that's a problem, because that's when people
Jesus
off work.
was allegedly born. I don't think anyone questions that. I don't know, you're not saying this, but just for clarity, I think it's understood that Jesus existed as a figure. Yeah. But when that happened is probably up for contest.
Wow.
Well, it's relevant if we're going to talk about the Boxing Day Test.
I nearly vomited.
Sometimes I think when we have these conversations, like, must it get existential straight away? Like, that game, the Sydney Smash, violent for me. Big Bash,
Sydney Smash.
That had some good shit in it, and I'm not talking about the Warner helicopter. I'm talking about like Steve O'Keefe.
Yeah.
Just came on and changed the game. Deluxe at his last game at the SCG. Like, what a great player he's been. I saw it was Paul Dennett. Can I bring this up? Paul Dennett is
I saw these stats from Paul.
podcast extraordinaire himself. He published some first-class bowling average the other day. So Steve O'Keefe's played his last game at the SCG. It's I don't think he's going around beyond this year. Maybe he will if someone offers him something. I don't think there's something there for him at the Sixers, and he's obviously not at the Blues. Hasn't been for a while.
Yeah.
First-class bowling average: Steve O'Keefe 24.7, Shane Warne 26.1, Nathan Lyon 32.9. Okay, just in and of itself, you can pick holes wherever you like: testicles, breast, whatever. First-class batting averages: Steve O'Keefe 25.6. Shane Warne 19.4, Nathan Lyon 12.3. And Paul makes his point as well. Just he's a great player. Sock. He's been a great player and a hell of a craftsman with the ball. The guys were all at sea in the Sydney Smash. The deck was definitely conducive to his kind of bowling. But how often have you seen him do it? I'm just saying, a guy is a good player.
Yeah, absolutely. Another guy, well, it's different. It is different. I just think about Steve O'Keefe, who it was off-field stuff that's really kept him away from higher honours consistently.
He would say that.
Shaun Marsh, not the same reasons, of course. But Shaun Marsh has also announced his retirement. Talk about Aaron Finch in a second, but he's announced his retirement. He's obviously been playing for the Renegades. 34 tests for Shaun. Sorry. He averaged 34 in tests, Shaun Marsh. He scored 600s. He averaged 40 in ODIs. He scored 700s. He was the first ever orange cap wearer in the IPL in 2008. So he was like the first superstar in the IPL. 53 first class hundreds. And like, it's maybe it's a bit uncouth to not or to question someone's career when they've just retired, because it's been an outstanding first class career. I just think about that as like, I mean, who was it? I saw someone tweet. Was it Wooey? Was it Andrew Wu actually, who said that he remembers interviewing Mickey Arthur, who said at the time when he was coaching the Australian side and Shaun Marsh was in it, that Shaun Marsh was, with AB de Villiers, the most talented player he'd ever coached. Now, they were obviously on different trajectories. There's no question about that. But fuck Shaun Marsh, he had fucking everything in domestic cricket. All these numbers were just like, this guy is going to be the guy for Australian cricket. And they tried with him, and it just never quite worked out. 34, averaging 34 in tests, 40 in ODIs is very respectable for sure. But 34 in tests, unders for a guy that fucking hell, he had it all there. And in domestic, and even in the IPL, leading run scorer in the first IPL in 2008. So it's like, maybe, as I say, maybe it's a bit uncouth to say like, yeah, but what if?
I think
there's
a backhanded compliment to it. You're just saying that.
What a player. What a cricketer.
You're just saying that he was a great player. I actually noted, just to add a little bit to that, was listening to Junior commentate on the latest Renegades game where I think Shaun Marsh ended up not out, just batted through, opening the batting. And dealt with a tricky wicket, and Junior was kind of, he actually, I love when Markor actually kind of is really invested in what he's saying, and he was talking about Shaun Marsh, just saying, look, he was almost exasperated thinking now about, what may have been or what happened, during his career, and I noted he just said like, gee, I've just never, and he said it with full sympathy, like I've never seen a guy so good at nicking it. It's a real like cricketer's comment. Like he's like, he just couldn't play and miss. You know, he just always nicked it, and didn't mean it as a compliment, just as something that happened. I agree, because you still see in Shaun Marsh today opening the batting for the Renegades, like class never goes away. You can still see his touch.
If I was a selector and I was watching him, I was like, this guy's one of the best players.
Totally. Like everybody's agreed who knows cricket. Everyone who's watched him just gone like, there goes someone who, was basically anointed, like was like, oh, you're going to pick up the baton after Ponting, basically. Yeah. You're the guy. Yeah. Like you're the generational talent. You're going to bat 3 and probably captain. And you'll be given every opportunity to do so. And he was, and it just didn't work out, for whatever reason. I'm not sure anyone's ever done a kind of a technical analysis on it or anything like that in any way. I think a lot of people seem to just accept that these are probably, they're more matters of, mentality or luck or whatever. But it's more a compliment to the quality and the class of the person that just, you know, even the best of cricketers look at him and go, oh, mate, you can play, you know.
This guy can play.
And maybe,
this guy can stick.
And maybe that's better, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Do you want to average in the 30s for Australia and never quite got it going, but at every single reunion, wherever you go, even the best go, mate, you could fucking play.
mate.
And they never look you in the eyes and it's always outside of their mouth.
At every reunion, you were the best player.
Yeah, exactly.
Despite other guys playing like 80 tests and
Mate,
stuff.
what about Sauce when he was like Mark Wall was going like,
he was the best.
Mark Wall was going, I just remember when this kid was 17, we played against him up in Newcastle or something. There's like, and
it's always Newcastle.
Yeah, no, plays a lot of games there. Maybe it wasn't. I just threw that in there, and he's like, and I just thought, gee, this kid can play. Gee, he's some player. And I thought, fucking me.
Oh my God, my kingdom.
Junior says that.
My kingdom.
About you at 17. You know, and you're playing against like Shaun Marsh is perhaps a couple of years older than us, like 1 or 2 years older than us.
He's 40.
Like, can you remember?
Yeah.
Could you remember being like 17 years old and imagine Mark Wall, the age that he is, and how thick everybody would be that you'd be playing against? Like, say you're playing for Newcastle, like in Newcastle.
You mean physically, not stupidly
not stupid.
thick.
Thank you for clarifying. No, how fucking dumb you'd have to be. No, I mean just the like that era of cricket. If you're batting 3 for WA, at age 17, for Western Australia, like what kind of talent must you possess?
You would be a fucking gun,
mate. More than what even the word is for that. Like what the next level of gun
Talk about
is.
Jesus. Like that's God tier.
But that is what he really was.
Yeah.
And you're playing against Mark Waugh. Mark Waugh at second slip with the hat on, the fucking speed dealers.
Yeah.
You know, the Waugh brothers walking around and whomever else is there. And you're just taking guard. And Mark Waugh concludes, this is some player. This is Swampy's son. I saw him walking around the Aussie dressing room. Like, does it get more, it's not even the right word, but prodigal? Like,
fuck, he let us down, didn't he?
Oh, fucking gutted. No, just thinking, like, imagine being 17, I was just
I'm angry at Mitch Marsh again now.
Just but you know, we just coo over that. Like, I don't know if I guess I'm asking.
I feel like a pigeon.
Yeah. We're talking about Cam Bancroft. What's the ceiling? 42? Yeah. That'd be nice. Maybe he plays around the front pad a bit, but gee, he ekes out those runs. Yeah. Do you want that or do you want to like, gee, some player at 17? Like the answer should be you want to be Cam Bancroft, and it is.
I love the adjective of some just fucking elicits fantasies in my mind. Saying it. He's some player.
Like why is it in our heart, our like demonic soul that means more as an Australian? Like just to be the fucking the unbridled talent. You're like fucking you've been touched with the talent stick. And I want Mark Waugh to think that. I'm going to average mid-30s and it doesn't quite happen for me for a host of reasons.
You've been kissed on the dick.
Mate, exactly.
Mark Waugh has held your penis. And
but what?
Checking in with the Grace.
You know? What is that? It's, mate, did Shaun Marsh have... You know, I don't want to cast him against Cameron Bancroft, by the way. Any grafter. And lots of us are grafters in life, you know. So how about Steffi Graft? But Steffi Grafter.
A lot of us are Steffi Grafters. But who's Andre Agassi?
Who had better cricket moments?
Oh, you're a moments guy?
Yeah, well,
I'm
just saying the shots Shaun Marsh must have played nets and otherwise, and that people became pigeons over. You know, like the self-esteem. You know what I'm saying, though?
I know exactly what you're saying.
A lot of first-class runs, but like every dressing room you walk in, is like, oh, there's sauce.
If you can,
people would talk under their breath about you. No, mate, and like you'd never be questioned. Always picked in every side all the time, mate. Sauce is mine.
If you could elicit an audible expression of like a gust of air from a man who is 57 years old, who's going to die of heart disease from eating red meat 8 days a week in 1999, let's call it, okay? If you can elicit a gust of air from them, fuck me, you must have been some player.
Like that, why are we more excited about that?
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Can he still go around again?
Because I think that speaks to grade cricket a little bit. I didn't expect to talk about Shaun Marsh as long.
No, this is quite long. Yeah, but Finch also retired.
I want to say something about Finchy quickly.
Okay.
People got up one or two comments last week that we'd glossed over it. I think the reason there's less chat about Finch retiring because for me he belongs in the international realm. That was the discussion when he retired from Australian international cricket. That's when he retired, and he was given his flowers in due course. Not like last game for Red. Red Melbourne. You know what I mean?
He did a lot for that franchise. He won the BBL.
Did a lot for a lot of franchises.
All good.
Yeah. But he's an Australian player. Okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Solace. Like, as a grade player, there's far more cachet in being like that's all we want to be. We want to be the player that people become pigeons over. No, we do. It's not about output.
Not
it's not like about two, I took my 2 for 32 off 15 or whatever and held up an end and I had a fucking catching cover. Like you want to be the player like that hits a shot or in the nets in fading light in the first grade quick bowls and you fucking pull him into the grandstand. Yeah. And everyone's like, oh. That player always has a piece.
Yeah.
He always has a good piece.
Yeah.
What is that?
What a wonderful tribute to Shaun Marsh. Aaron Finch also retired. He played his last game for Red. 7th most T20 runs of all time. More than Rohit Sharma at the moment. More than Joss Butler. Those guys will pass him. But incredible T20 record. Second highest individual T20 score. Of course, he's 172 versus Zimbabwe. BBL winner for Red. World Cup winning captain for Green and Gold. 17 ODI hundreds. I feel like that's lost a little bit because obviously Finch won the World Cup as captain in the UAE that time, but his ODI record is fucking great. He was a great ODI player for us as well, for us being
Bloody
TGC.
Yeah.
He was a fucking great player.
Yeah. I mix him in. Like I didn't actually see.
I didn't see him as a
too
T20
much difference
player.
between T20 and ODIs for Finch.
Yeah.
It's just
white ball.
It's just white ball. Like prolific.
Yeah.
Ness.
And also, he's our best friend now. A lot of people said really nice things about the interview that we had with him. People love him. People love Finchy.
Normal, honest man.
Yeah,
which is
that
rare and good and like refreshing.
So well done, Finchy. Ran down the wicket and threw one in the air. Pop one on the shoot, but
mate, the eyes have been painted on for a long time.
We just did 15 minutes on Shaun Marsh. Finchy, eyes went painted on. Pop on the shoot.
That's what makes him great. You can say that.
Other things happened in the Big Bash. Hey, Jai Richardson's out of the BBL with a side strain. That's bad news. He was recalled to the Australian setup for was it the ODIs or the T20s? Yeah. ODIs, was it?
Yeah.
Or maybe both. ODIs.
ODIs, I think.
So he's in doubt for the ODIs. Sad news for Jai Richardson, who is obviously just, they've wanted him for fucking ages. And,
they'll continue to want him, I believe.
How old is he? Is he 30 yet?
Don't know. Don't think so.
Because he played against Sri Lanka. Do you remember that game against Sri Lanka? That's
he's 27.
Oh, he's
a baby.
Yeah. He's got time on his side. Absolute jet. But also weird
he
thing.
got picked up by Delhi as well. Punter
Did he? I didn't see that.
Punter rates it.
Oh, fucking hell. What a
Punter rates it.
Imagine if Ponting...
Had a good clip too. Don't worry about that. Sorry, mate. You just talk.
Do you reckon Ponting rates us?
No, mate. I think...
Do you reckon he knows our names?
No. I think I'd be surprised.
Yeah. Calls us mate a lot.
Made. I think he walks into various, gigs every year.
Yeah.
And, okay, it's you guys, is it? Okay.
Yeah. I recognise the faces.
Yeah. I've done this before.
The other thing happened in the Big Bash was Marnus and Sam Billings, Bilbo, were batting and they end up at the fucking wrong end.
Yeah.
How the fuck did that happen? Do you want to read the Fox headline?
Conspiracy. Extraordinary. Marnus's wrong batter blunder floors cricket world. And the cricket world was flawed.
It's really good.
I just want to shout, look, Jake Fraser McGurk.
Yeah, you like it? Yeah, so you messaged me. You messaged me wearing red versus green.
Just an ideological conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So he's scored a lot of runs in the competition.
That helps.
I'd say, I don't know, might be top 5 or 10 at least.
Shall we look it up?
And he's probably got 3rd or 4th on strike rate.
Okay.
Behind, guys ahead of him still like who've actually scored runs, by the way.
Yeah.
Maxwell's ahead of him, I think, and Chris Lynn's ahead of him, but you're looking at some pretty good company there. I think Matt Short might be ahead of him as well, just to underscore how good a season Matt Short's having.
Yeah, okay.
Whose time is now. But
Fraser McGurk is 1, 2, 3, 4. He's fifth. He scored 257 at 158. So of all the guys ahead of him, only Chris Lynn has hit at a faster clip.
more runs as well?
Chris Lynn's hit more runs, yeah.
Okay.
But Fraser McGurk's hit 257.
But you're talking about the that's the company that he's in.
Yep.
You know, Chris Lynn, Glenn Maxwell, these guys. And I think if you talk to people who know things about cricket at the inside level, and I think the conclusion or the read, the assessment is that like just an unbelievable hitter with unrivaled hand-eye coordination who, you know, could be anything, you know, but doesn't really know what he's doing. He's just hitting. Skilled bowling will probably bring him unstuck. And you can certainly see that when you watch the games. But he's also an example of a sports person to me where you watch a particular shot and you go, oh, that's got to be elevated now. You know, like at pace. Like this is an in and around guy if there ever was one.
I've seen him play shots that I don't think other guys can play, which I think is what you're saying.
He hit Scott Boland for this 6. It was just on a shit tip at Marvel, with respect. And of
course, yeah.
if anyone's
Complete respect. Yeah.
with full and unadulterated respect
From a DC fan.
from an MCG fan. DC fan, I'll go with
comic stuff.
Yeah, sorry. I was thinking about Delhi Capitals when they got to do anything.
I'm a virgin.
Anyway, it was, and you just see it and you're like, and you hear what Glenn Maxwell says about him. Maxwell, they were interviewing him again on air, live while he was playing, and they're like, oh, you know, do you think he's going to be the future of Australian cricket? He's like, going to be. He's like, he is. Like this is the guy. They should build it around him. You know?
Wow. Okay.
I think they're mates and all that kind of gear, but yeah, I wonder if it would be pertinent to ask Maxwell, like, what are the mistakes selectors might have made with him in interpreting his talent that they might be wise not to make with Fraser McGurk. I mean, there is an argument that you can bring guys in too early, expose them too early and cause them problems, and they have to go, you know, start again, slide down the ladder, blah, 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 blah. I just hope that I hope selectors don't spend years querying his, you know, what makes him different, you know, like they did Glenn Maxwell. I don't know if that means getting him in and around a squad or giving him a taste or whatever it is, but I just think he should be expedited, you know, like he should be accelerated, and you know, then you're in a sink or swim situation because it just is unbelievable to watch.
Victorian in the side as well, something.
Yeah, but they got he didn't get cut by them. They offered him a rookie contract. He's with South Australia now. But yes, he's
that's
Victorian,
right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just think certain players warrant exceptional approaches.
Yeah,
that's all.
That annoys a lot of people.
Yes, agreed.
Anything else with the Big Bash?
Not right now. Oh well, I mean, relating it to Finch. I thought Adam Zampa's tribute to him was nice. It was touching. Was very touching.
So those who haven't seen it, Adam Zampa posted an Instagram story of them together at the World Cup. I think Finchy was in it. It was mostly about Zamps, with that one saying, "See you at the reunion, Finchy." So that was a nice gesture.
And previous to that, Zampa revealing his newest tattoo on his quadricep, I believe, his thigh, which is of Larry David holding a T20 and ODI World Cup with the words "pretty, pretty, pretty, pretty good." So, all good.
Pezza, this one comes in from Pigeon Finger Blaster. He asked us on Patreon, boys, can NordVPN help us England fans out with catching the upcoming India series? Looks like no one wants to broadcast it. Good news for you, Pezza, that you can.
Oh, okay. I thought they did. I thought someone did come in, but let's pretend they didn't. Yeah.
But if they hadn't, maybe you can use NordVPN.
Exactly. Now you've got access.
You can use nordvpn.com/TGC. You grab an exclusive deal by hitting that link. There will also be a link in the show notes below. You get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan plus 4 months for free. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. NordVPN.com/TGC. The deal that we're talking about with NordVPN is that you can switch your virtual location to a country that is showing, let's say, for instance, the India-England Test Series, so you don't miss out on a single ball because you can catch that on a different streaming service in a different country that is broadcasting that. NordVPN.com/TGC. I want to talk about the Super Smash. Pezza?
Yeah.
If that's all right with you.
Thank you.
I've
been waiting.
I want to talk about Central Districts against Wellington.
Yes, the big one.
Will Young, the batter, who's been called up to New Zealand despite this incident happening. He pumps one down the ground. Troy Johnson, of course, running back, takes a fine catch. He flicks it over his head before he tumbles into the rope. Over his head, he flicks it to Nick Kelly, who then completes the catch. He gets the fantasy points for the Super Smash. I'd imagine some sort of fantasy game being played over there. Would be up there with one of the best catches I've ever seen. I think most people have seen that if they listen to this show, they would have seen that catch in the Super Smash. That's because I'm so desensitized now to guys like catching it, flicking it up in the air, even like ones where they flick it quite a far distance to their teammate who's backing them up in the field there. But this one, the catch itself was amazing, running over his head, diving, going into the rope and then flicking it over his head.
Full sprint, falling over.
That's up there with one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, that genre of catch, the flick up at the boundary's edge, I feel like it's its own thing in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
So teamwork and awareness of where a rope is. It's very new age style of catch. It's not a pure bat, hand and ball scenario. Just a trio of characters involved. This is and I hadn't seen this particular type of catch though, where he's full pelt running to the boundary at straight hit, basically, or long off, something like that, right? And is that right? The batter hit straight.
Straight.
Yeah, and he's falling over. So normally with those catches, part of the reason you throw it back is because your whole body's going to go over the edge, but usually it starts with the feet. People are still on their feet, but his is his head's going to go over. His whole body's going to flick over. So he lands on the ground, and as he's kind of bouncing, he throws the ball back over his shoulder. Unbelievable. Or tosses it, I should say, yeah. The pace and can you imagine the whiplash of his head while that was happening?
Oh, unbelievable.
Good catch. Do you where's that sit for genres of catches for you? So for me, I'm just a bit. People are like, this is the best catch I've ever seen, ever. So it doesn't do it for me.
One. Yeah, now, so Stokes is one of the World Cup in 2019. Was that against Pakistan, maybe? When he catches it over his head? Sort of reverse hand, right-handed, over his head. Right. That's up there in terms of degree of difficulty. That one's up there. There was also one, I was just trying to type it in just saying, it was a New Zealand guy. I don't know if it was Glenn Phillips. Might have been Martin Guptill because it was before Glenn Phillips, I think. It was at Marvel Stadium.
Oh, yeah. That was a boundary one,
That was a boundary one.
But it was a huge throw back in, right?
Yeah, and it was vertical, made leg side, might have been against Hussey, for instance.
Okay.
Pull shot, flat, and then running
I know the one you're talking about.
And then going completely horizontal, one-handed. That's in terms of degree of difficulty, that'd be right up there. There's also the Steve Waugh one, challenging the sight screen MCG.
Yes.
That's
takes
hard.
It runs around the back of the sight screen.
That's really hard, as well as catching like that at night as well. Catching a white ball at night, fingers down, that's harder. So running over your head, that's a good catch, but didn't go to ground. It's the best catch of all time. Slips catch, a whole different genre. Don't really.
So I'm just asking about genres for you. What genres get you off the most? What genres make you into a pigeon?
Jordan Silk's taken a few good ones over the years in the Big Bash. I like outfield catches.
Do you like an outfield catcher?
I like outfield catch. Where you combine athleticism, getting to the ball, and skill of, obviously catching the ball. Whereas slips, for instance, is reflex. There's not really many different types of slips catches, for screamers. You know what I mean? Reflex.
I think I like a really traditional catch in the ring, like at a point or something. I like a full stretch. I need air.
Andrew Simons. Cover against Sri Lanka.
Okay.
Do you remember that one? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, really?
Plucks it up one hand. It's pretty impressive.
Look, I'm just saying I need air and horizontal angles for me.
Yeah,
that I don't want to shame anyone and what they need.
I want to talk about the SA20 because the teams are strong and good and the crowds have been very good. Here are some things that have happened. Rassie van der Dussen scored a 49-ball 100 for MI Cape Town, opening stand of over 200. for MICT. Reece Topley bowled a maiden over for the Super Giants. And Faf took a screamer for Joburg Super Kings.
Okay.
These are things that happen. I mean, if you look at each team and like who's playing them, obviously South Africa have like extremely good players, but then they're littered with a couple of international players obviously as well, and like the teams are fucking good.
Yeah.
And I think about the Big Bash, and it's like, well, what about with the Big Bash where, like, sorry, in Australian cricket when World Series cricket was going on up until basically 20 years ago, all the best players came out to us for our summer. How do we do that again? Well, it's not going to be through Test cricket, is it? It's going to be through, if you want to see the best players playing on our shores consistently every summer, it's the Big Bash. It's just my thought. And when I look at the SA20, it's like, this is a fucking good tournament. And you also see how many people go compared to the test matches, and also test matches even being viable only because of the SA20.
And the only way that you probably don't have those competitions expand themselves into the Australian summer is to have the same franchises own things so that they're not competing against themselves.
Exactly. Who's signing up to that?
I like the fucking pyramid myself. I actually do.
Just to highlight the absurdity of how many franchises are going at the moment. So Rashid Khan pulled out of captaining MI Cape Town. He's got a back injury, so he couldn't play.
Jimmy Jack.
So Kyron Pollard is replacing him as captain for MICT. Now, the SA20 clashes with the IL20, where Pollard is the captain of MI Emirates. See what's going on here?
Yeah.
So Nicholas Purin will replace Pollard as the captain of MI Emirates because Pollard has to leave the MI Emirates to play for MI Cape Town. Do you see what's going on? Because Rashid Khan is injured.
Has IL20 started?
Hasn't started yet, but there's going to be a clash, so you can't lose his captaincy stuff.
Yeah.
It's confusing, isn't it?
Well, that kind of does that defeat what I just said earlier? Like if you have two franchises owned by the same owners going up against, like overlapping each other, the fuck does that mean? And
then Warner is playing in the IL20, isn't he? But he's coming back for the
T20s.
The T20s. So Stoinis is playing for
Dubai Capitals?
No, he's Lucknow, the Lucknow Super Giants. So
Correct.
that's the Durban Super Giants. Is that right? Yeah, Durban Super Giants. Yeah, that's right.
I love this.
And so he is playing until the T20s against West Indies. So, makes it all pretty easy to understand.
No, I'm looking forward to all of that.
Okay, what about this, Pezza?
Yeah.
The under-19s captain of South Africa, people might have seen this is via Reuters. Hosts South Africa have stripped David Teager. I'm going to read the article just to give context because people might not have seen this. Have stripped David Teager of the captaincy for the Under-19 Cricket World Cup campaign amid fears he could be a target for anti-war protesters, but he will remain part of the squad, officials confirmed on Friday. Teager was cleared of wrongdoing by an independent inquiry established by Cricket South Africa, CSA, last month following comments he made in support of Israeli soldiers at an awards ceremony in October. The teenager was recognised at the Jewish Achiever Awards and said, and I quote, "I'm now the rising star, but the true rising stars are the young soldiers in Israel. And I'd like to dedicate it to the state of Israel and every single soldier fighting so that we can live and thrive in this diaspora." The comments drew the ire of the Palestine Solidarity Alliance, the PSA, which lodged a complaint with the South African Sports Confederation and Olympic Committee. Teager was cleared by the inquiry, but his demotion comes as the South African government has levelled an accusation of genocide against Israel at the International Court of Justice, and CSA says it fears keeping the 19-year-old as captain could inflame tensions during the tournament. They released a statement, the CSA, that said this: "We have been advised that protests related to the war in Gaza can be anticipated at the venues for the tournament. We've also been advised that they are likely to focus on the position of the SA Under-19 captain, David Teager, and that there is a risk that they could result in conflict or even violence, including between rival groups of protesters. In the circumstances, CSA has decided that David should be relieved of the captaincy for the tournament. This is in the best interest of all the players, the SA Under-19 team, and David himself." So, I don't know if irony is the right term, but South Africa are hosting the Under-19 World Cup, this tournament, because Sri Lanka weren't allowed to after, you might remember, being suspended by the ICC post-Cricket World Cup, the Men's Cricket World Cup just gone because of government interference. So there might be some sort of irony there, if that is the right word. But that's... you
got to remember South Africa actually took Israel to the ICJ as well. So
yeah.
A lot of people are pretty fired up in South Africa around this. So
yeah, so pretty keen to have a good open-hearted discussion about this, bring some comedy into this one, Pezza.
Well, all I could think was, yes, this is controversial, but, I just, like my takeaway online this week was the group of Hasidic Jews who were
Digging tunnels in Brooklyn.
digging tunnels in Brooklyn from their synagogue. Just look at it online if you haven't seen it. You think, oh, he just said Jewish. Oh, that's going to be controversial. I'm just saying. I think that's some pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Personally, as for weighing in on this, like you know, must you offer a shot?
Yeah.
You know, to every single thing.
Say something now.
Like
Bangkok should be picked.
I could see. I nearly vomited. You know.
New Zealand and Pakistan are in a 5-match T20 series. Hell of a segue. New Zealand are 2-0 up in that 5-match series against Pakistan. The next games are on Wednesday, Friday and Sunday if you want to go in New Zealand. If you don't go. Shaheen is obviously the captain now of the Pakistan T20 side. Babar Azam hit 250s in the 2 games so far, striking over 150 in each innings. That's been in the context of a lot of Pakistani fans saying like, yeah, Rizwan and Babar, yeah, all good. Can you get on with it, boys? You know? Kane Williamson has retired. He did retire hurt in the second game, experiencing tightness in his hamstring while running a single. What's that got to do with me? He goes, people are going to say, well, he's had an ACL, ruptured his ACL in the IPL, broken thumb in the World Cup, and now this. Bad news for Kane, but he is out of the rest of this series and now racing to be fit for the test matches against South Africa 4s and then the 2 tests, obviously, against Australia. So, in the context of Australia never going to New Zealand or doing it every 2 Olympic cycles, that being 8 years, I, for one, would like to see...
I need Kane, yeah.
Yeah,
I need Kane
as something for the eyes there as well.
Yeah.
Kane Williamson in New Zealand against our boys.
The shapes are...
I like, and it'll be the last time we get to see it as well, because Australia ain't going there for another 15 years.
Exactly. So sort it out.
If they could sort it out, that'd be good for us. I don't want to score any runs. A couple of nice 40s.
He can put on a show for us if he wants. I'd like to see it.
Something to think about, Kane.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the big one, Pezza. India, Afghanistan.
Oh, they waited patiently. We got there. India,
India are 2-0
India,
up
Afghanistan.
in the 3-match series, T20s against Afghanistan in India. India won the first 2 games, both of them by 6 wickets. But let's talk about Kohli and Djokovic texting.
Exactly. I mean, just to properly analyse the last game with India Afghanistan. Afghanistan 172. India knocked that off 4 down, 15.2 overs, and I watched every ball. My understanding is there's like a new philosophy and ideology in Indian T20 cricket. Like it's a new wild team.
Oh yeah,
they're trying to score faster.
Oh okay, that's interesting.
Now Kohli, I saw a headline, Kohli buys into India's plan to bat with wild intensity. He batted 16 balls against Afghanistan and tried to hit half of them to the boundary.
Wow.
I saw in the article. He made 29 off 16.
Wow.
There's an 800-word article about it. Bit of Kohli Rohit stuff with the T20 side. Should that be there? Are we looking to move on? Because I don't know in this game, Jaiswal and Dubé score the runs. Is the future here?
Isn't Dubé like 33?
Yeah, but it's the next thing.
Yeah, but he hasn't played that much for India.
Yeah.
Let's see how old Shivam Dubé is. He is 30 years old. That's young enough. That's young enough.
But, if you don't have Rohit and Kohli, like what are the broadcasters going to talk about? You know what I'm saying? That's a whole new strategy for a lot of people with a lot of money in media.
What are they going to do with the highlights packages they've already put together?
Yeah, that's right.
So, all the best, trying to get rid of those 2. I feel like Rohit's... now, this is just a feeling which is based on nothing, so actually already forget what I'm about to say.
Golden Duck last game.
But I feel like Rohit's record, not that electric in T20s compared to what he's done in other formats. Yeah, wow, I know. And that could be easily
he won 5 times with Mumbai.
Yeah, but in recent times in the IPO, he's been dog shit, hasn't he?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I know we've covered it.
No, I think he has.
He's done some stuff sometimes. Yeah, Mumbai hasn't done a lot for a while.
So, Kohli, he is the greatest ODI player of all time. Now, T20 is a different format altogether. It's actually shorter.
Right.
Who's the guy that's ending Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli's career? Who is genuinely in India going to do that? Be like, I'm the guy that's not going to pick you. All the best.
They're going to have to bring in Dhoni to coach. He's the only person. He's the only person who could do it, and people go, okay.
Can you imagine the pressure on the guys that would then replace them in the order? It wouldn't be worth it.
Do you think it's worth it now? I mean, the pressure on them now is a joke. I mean, it's just pressure deluxe.
Yeah.
Everything in
You
Indian
can't win.
We didn't really mention the schedule for the T20 World Cup came out as well. Have we noted like
we didn't even talk about it, did we?
India, Pakistan, New York.
Cool.
They're building a stadium now.
What am I looking at? I'm looking at Rohit Sharma's T20 stats because I feel like I've said possibly the worst thing I've ever said. Well, that's been that's quite something in this show. Let me tell you. Okay, Rohit Sharma. Here we go. In T20s, he averages 30 and he strikes at 139. He has scored 4 T20 hundreds and 29 50s. Now, averaging 30 in T20s, I don't think that's not.
What are averages meaning in T20 cricket?
He averages 49 in ODIs, 45 in tests, so that's fucking pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a pretty good player.
Look, I think he's a good player, but like, I mean, averaging 30 opening the batting in T20s, that seems unders to me. I don't know. I'm fucking digging myself.
I think India needs to bite the bullet and see the future. There we go. And I love those players. You can walk and chew gum. Two ideas at the same time. I'm not saying necessarily drop Rohit and Kohli, but I just think there should be some major, policy
beheadings.
There should be like a big policy towards the aligning Indian cricket towards the future, whatever that looks like. Perhaps that's here. I don't know.
My takeaway from so there's a video where Kohli was talking about Djokovic texting.
Can I read?
Oh, please.
Kohli and Djokovic texting. This is big. Virat Kohli. So this is from Novak. Virat Kohli and I have been texting a little bit for a few years. We never got the chance to meet in person, but it was an honour and privilege to listen to him speak nicely about me, Djokovic said on Sony Sports. I admire his career and his achievements. I started to play cricket. I'm not very good at it. I have a task to perfect my cricket skills before I get to India so I don't embarrass myself when I'm there. Now, Kohli's response, are you ready?
Yep.
Kohli revealed that when he tried to get in touch with Djokovic, he found that Novak had already slid into his DMs. Kohli says, I got in touch with Novak very organically.
Yeah.
When I saw his profile on Instagram, I pressed the message button. I thought I'd message him.
Yeah.
Then I saw his message already on my DM.
There. He's already there.
Kohli told BCCI.tv.
Yeah.
He goes on, I had never opened it. It was the first time I had opened my own messages. Fair enough. And he's messaged me himself.
Yeah.
So first I thought, let me just check. Maybe it's a fake account. Then I checked again. It was legitimate.
That's legit.
Then we got talking.
Yeah,
so that
yeah,
is
yeah.
Djokovic must be welcomed to cricket.
Chef's kiss.
Exactly.
That is perfect from Virat.
I wanted to text him.
He chased me first.
Yeah.
He wanted me first.
He'd already slid in, didn't
He
even
already
realise.
slid. I didn't realise. Oh, sorry, Novak Djokovic.
It's the first time I've pressed the message button. That's awesome.
That's fucking alpha.
Yeah.
That's why he's the king.
That's why he's the king.
Also really enjoyed Djokovic and Steve Smith at the Australian Open and Jackson Warren bowling to him.
Yeah.
And Djokovic, fucking big old swing and a miss. Plenty more work to do in the nets.
To say.
Before he heads to India if he wants to impress Virat with those skills, I've got to say.
A lot of people, there's three characters there. A lot of people focusing on Smith and Djokovic.
Yeah.
I'm watching a Warren come in and bowl. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the shapes.
I'm watching a Warren with a ball in hand.
And I think I could see something.
What we're looking at here.
With respect to the immense, difficulty it must have been following in his father's footsteps and stuff like that. It's a hell of a rig.
Yeah.
Jackson Warren looks the way Shane Warne might have looked if he cared about his fitness a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With respect to the strength of the man.
Of course.
Anyway,
Like an ox.
I was watching the bowlers in. That's all I'm saying.
Just keeping an eye, Pezzo, on coming up the India-England series.
Yeah, why wouldn't we?
I think it's a pretty good wrap of what's happening in India, Afghanistan.
Yeah, me too. And world cricket generally.
Yeah, of course. This is via Ali Martin, friend of the show, of course, in The Guardian. He's got a quote from Ollie Pope here, and Ollie Pope has said, if the pitches in India spin from ball one, we won't complain. Oh, I'm salivating for this series, man.
And he went on to say...
What did he say, Pezzo?
He goes, in England, we might leave more grass on the pitch to suit our amazing seamers. So it's no surprise if India do the same to suit their spinners. Oh. And I actually think low-scoring test matches where the ball has edge over bat are pretty amazing to watch. It's a very,
we'll see.
Specific, equivalence he's drawing. He's putting it right out there. We do things to suit our pitches and they do theirs.
You know what I think? I think it's January... and no one in England gives a fuck about cricket, so he's talking to the Indian populace there.
I'll be
With
very...
respect to Ali's work.
I would be... I mean, that is also how you set up... That is erecting, some morality that we wouldn't obviously understand here in the colonies.
I don't get it, but
if that is the sentiment at 2 or 3-0 on shit tips, then fucking fair play.
Yeah.
Absolute fair play to England. If that is the line that is held as Ashwin takes 6 for, and Axar Patel comes in and cleans up the tail with balls spitting off the shoulder, then fair play. If England's going like, hey, look, we grass up the decks as well, so Jimmy can sort of nibble them.
India, I should have put this in the agenda. India picked their squad.
Yes, that's right.
And
Shami's injured.
What's his name? Kuldeep's in the squad.
Yeah.
So they got four spinners in the squad.
Okay.
So
plenty to choose from.
Yeah. Options. Yeah. Will they all play? Probably. Pez, what about this? Well, you might have mentioned it last week, but Delhi buying Hampshire. So
just quickly on England, India.
Yeah.
We briefly mentioned Harmison and Stokes last week as well. Harmison says if England go in 3 days before, they deserve to get beat 5-0. You can't go into India underprepared. You'd never do that for an Ashes series. It stinks. Steve Harmison launches an explosive rant about England's preparation. A must listen. Ben Stokes quote tweet. Yeah. Just like he did after the drinks.
Yes.
Good job we're going to Abu Dhabi for a training camp before we go to India for even more training before that first test then, isn't it?
1-0 Stokesy.
1-0 Stokesy once again. Now, since then, they have what's the actual phrase? They've made up. They've cleared the air. Sorry.
Okay.
They've had clear the air.
I thought they were going to kiss and make up.
Maybe, but they've had
not in Dubai. You can't do that. You can't do that there.
In privacy. You probably could. They could kiss. They could go into each other's hotel room and kiss.
That's true.
But they have cleared the air. So, and Harmison's he's singing from the hymn sheet now. Harmison's saying there's a great opportunity for England, and he said he can't see them getting like dusted the way the Aussies have got dusted over there, particularly with the way they play the game. So someone's chucked the old pendulum in front of the eyes there. With respect.
You must drink the Kool-Aid.
Just final thing. I know we're getting the Hampshire stuff, but Nick Holty in the Telegraph wrote that England insists that their decision to bring their own chef has nothing to do with not trusting hotels to provide clean facilities, and is instead about ensuring players, especially those who refuse to eat spicy food, are eating nutritious meals rather than filling up on energy bars and pizzas.
Something to think about. Hampshire have confirmed...
I'm just saying it's going to be a good series.
Hampshire have confirmed they are fully engaged in some detailed negotiations with prospective investors after the Telegraph reported that GMR Group, the co-owners of Delhi Capitals, are in advanced talks with Rod Bransgrove about buying his share in the club's parent company. So basically what we're talking about here is the company that owns DC.
Part owns.
Part owns DC is looking at buying a significant stake in Hampshire County Cricket Club.
Yeah. And I think it's against the backdrop of a lot of chat of franchises coming into, like IPL-owned franchises coming in to own 100 franchises. But this is like, well, why buy the franchise when you can buy the county?
You can buy the county.
Hampshire presiding over Southern Brave at the Aegeus, as far as I understand. Right. Are we looking at a workaround there? I feel like England, the UK, England, ECB, and the 100 is a bit more advanced than Australia on the question of private equity and and setting up something for that and buying in.
Yeah.
So again, like in the context of what we're discussing with the BBL. And it does feel, he goes, this year, like there hasn't been a clearer sense of the end game of the BBL or where we're going with it. Like it just seems to sort of, it's just an incremental ongoing thing. Like it feels like there's this sort of, it feels like we don't know where it's going or what it is. It's all in such flux. We don't seem to be able to enjoy it in and of itself for what it is. It's like, what's the strategic purpose of this vis-a-vis the future of cricket? It's the great vehicle Australia has to try and carve out its own position in global cricket. Yeah. Now, like, it doesn't feel like anything's really happened this summer in terms of punters becoming further aware of what CA intends to do. There's been no real conversation about it. Maybe people have just been enjoying the comp and there isn't anything to see here. But I'd imagine if the 100 opens up to private equity and that's all owned by IPL franchises, you're literally looking at Australia being the only, primary cricket playing nation who have not permitted it or whatnot. So I just think that although it seems like we're talking about DC owners and Hampshire, and that's a long way away from, rocking a Mandurah and snorting, and lines at Coke, Justin Langer Oval. It is connected, it is connected to our game. When IPL franchises are buying up English counties, you're like, it's like it's coming.
Oh, mate, 100%. Looking forward to the first test against West Indies. Hashtag AskTGC is brought to you by Ponting Wines, pontingwines.com.au. And I thought I might bring up Pezza just in the range.
Make me safe again.
I'm at pontingwines.com.au right now, Pezza, where you can use the code GETAFEW for 20% off your order. And I need you to do it. Go right now. Just think about it right now. Think about pontingwines.com.au right now. And when you go there and when you buy some wines, you're going to get 20% off by using the code GETAFEW. Now, Pezza, the range. I'm talking about the range, and I'm talking about Ponting first session. Adelaide Hills Sauvignon Blanc. Okay? Here's a quote from Ricky Ponting, RT Ponting. The first session of a test match was extra special to me. A chance to pull on the baggy green with 10 of my mates, and we come together as one. Here's what Ben Riggs has to say, the maker of the wine. Fresh, bright, and aromatic. A perfect starter for a drink in the sun with friends. pontingwines.com.au. That's the Ponting first session, Adelaide Hills, Sauvignon Blanc. Use the code GETAFEW, 20% off. Hashtag RCDC, Pezza, go.
Shit. Let me just bring it up.
Oh, do you want me to do it?
No, I got it. I'm here. I'm good. Okay. This is from Tom. Seinfeld Season 3, Episode 14, The Pez Dispenser, and Lord Ian, Earl of Killara, His Royal Higness.
Thanks.
Back in my London days, travel a bit, did you?
Okay.
That was his words. Yeah. I recall meeting a prospective female at a house party, and in my inebriated state, remember picking up a bit of a vibe. I asked around the traps on what her story was, and a friend told me she'd done a bit of behind-the-scenes stuff for the Black Caps and had been on a date with Brian Lara. I was intrigued. I was firstly in desperate need of breaking a serious puss drought.
Yeah.
Hello to patrons. I was firstly in desperate need of breaking a serious puss drought, but also was salivating at the thought of finding out what the prince was really like as a bloke. We exchanged a few Monday messages, and I've said we should go out for a drink this weekend. She said she's keen, but she's pretty busy all week, so not sure when we can catch up. This bird's mugging me off, I thought. She got no intention to see me again. So I've replied, I bet Brian Lara didn't have to wait a week, did he?
Yeah.
Needless to say, I never saw her again, and I'm still a bit vague on what he's like as a bloke. He's jagged more test centuries than I've jagged birds, so he can definitely bat. ... Anyways, my questions are, where did I go wrong? Does being in the 10,000 club get you a date within 7 days? How do you reckon the Windies will go on the circuit this summer?
Not sure vis-a-vis circuit. Adelaide circuit, good.
I'd imagine pretty good.
Brisbane circuit, good. So those are the two options there. I know. Then they're also playing the 6 Wappel games after that all around the country. So there's that. Now, I understand who wrote this question, Tom. He's been frustrated. He wanted to see this woman. He wanted to go on a date with her.
His prospective woman.
A prospective woman. So not just a woman, but perhaps a woman. And
this woman prospect.
And he's got frustrated, and he's thought, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm going to say, well, I bet Brian Lara didn't have to wait this long, did he? And really, once you play that hand, once you put in that chip, once you punch those words into your phone and then click the blue send button, then you're like, well, you're never going to hear from this person again. And in fact, you come across as kind of aggressive and a little bit bitter, and it's not really going to go well for you. Now, Tom probably already knows these things, doesn't he? Like, he knows that, like, as soon as I send that, he's like, well, I'm not going to get a response back.
Well, he says, this bird's mugging me off.
Hey, I've been mugged off here.
I've been mugged off here. What do you think of Tottenham?
Shit. Yeah, so, look, that's something you have to learn from there, Tom. If you're feeling a little bit of anger and you desperately want attention from a woman over the internet, I don't think harassing them is going to be the way forward. I don't think that's like, sending an aggressive message in that regard.
She's got no intention of seeing him again. He's trying to get in first before he gets officially rejected. So he thought, I'm just going to fire a shot. He knows it's over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He knows it's over.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to learn these things, Tom. You know?
Lover, you should have come over. Jeff Buckley. Yeah.
He's dead.
He drowned. I mean, what should he have done? Like, do you think when do you agree with him that when she says she's keen but pretty busy all week, so not sure when we can catch up? That's as good as done.
So
that's as good as done.
What he's asking really is like, can I change someone's will? You know, because if she wanted to see you, she ain't that busy. You know, or if she really was, she would make alternative arrangements to fit in around her life as well. You know,
there might have been nothing there, mate. I mean, he does say he was inebriated, and he remembers picking up a bit of a vibe.
Is this a thing where a woman looked at me? Oh,
yeah,
I think I'm in love.
Yeah, it's like
I do that
this
when I walk
woman's
past a
going
mannequin.
about her business. Well, and we all have.
And then I realised she hasn't got a head. I've been mugged off here.
Hasn't stopped me. What? Headless mannequin. I fell in love with a headless mannequin.
Yeah, at the lingerie store.
This woman has this prospective. Well, she's not. She's a woman. To him, oh God, she was a prospective woman.
Yeah.
She's at a party.
Yeah.
Right. There's a drunk guy. Let's look at it from her perspective. There's a drunk guy who they have a conversation, and he's gone, well, I'm picking up a bit of a vibe here.
Yeah.
Right. And then she goes on with her business at the party. She's had a conversation with a man. He's off asking people what her story is.
Yeah.
He finds out that she dated Brian Lara. So now she's a woman who had a conversation with a man, and in her past, she's had a date with Brian Lara, possibly multiple. Okay?
Maybe.
Now he's got stories running through his head. He might get her phone number without her agreeing to it.
Yeah.
He just, through mutual friends or whatever.
Yeah.
So what she does is she messages him, like she replies to a message. What does he say? A few Monday messages. Now let's be specific. A few could be him messaging twice, her messaging once in the middle of that.
Yeah.
So, and he's called it a few Monday messages. So again, she's had a conversation with a guy and then gets a message from him, to which she replies. And then all she gets after that is, I bet Brian Lara didn't have to wait a week, didn't he?
He should have said, I played Brian Lara cricket 99. Wasn't that good.
She would have been burnt.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sorry, Tom, but she wasn't that keen.
Yeah.
Which is, hey,
No, but at any point.
if you're looking at rejections, no one's been rejected more times than me. And
Really?
I'm just saying that.
Really?
Like you put yourself out there.
I'd find that surprising.
I've faced many rejections in my life.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, you not necessarily from women. You just mean like in terms of, trying things and failing.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky.
Asking Dad to play cricket.
So I'm saying this from experience, Tom, is what I'm saying. Like, I'm reading the language here, and she's like, yeah, no, I came for a drink. Yeah, bid on this week. Gonna let you know.
And I'm not really sure when we can catch up.
I'm actually not really sure. Can you check? Yep. That's the end of that conversation.
She should have responded. Like, I bet Brian Lara didn't have to wait a week. No, he didn't.
Fucking hell. That'd be brutal.
It's like, just the syntax. I realize we're trying to wrap up here, but like, I bet Brian Lara
Wasn't Shaun Marsh a good player?
I bet Brian Lara didn't have to wait a week, did he? Like, why does it sound like he's side mouthing it from second slip? You know what I mean? Bet Brian Lara didn't have to wait a week, didn't he?
He's actually put on speed dealers to write that message. Something to think about. Thanks, Tom, for your question. Getting your questions via email really would be the best way to get it in, or join us on Patreon. Thanks as always for joining us here on TGC. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday. Have a great rest of your week. We'll be back for day one of the Adelaide Test match, Australia against the West Indies. The week after that, the first test match of India-England and the second test match of Australia-West Indies happening at the same time. Oh, it's going to be busy here at TGC. If you are new here, why not click subscribe, share it around, share the love around. Thanks as always for joining us. We'll see you guys on the internet real soon. Cheers.